Our highlight for this evening, I am so excited to welcome a really great friend of mine. She is a true friend. Her name is Robin Fennell. She is a wardrobe stylist and she lives here in Northern Virginia. She's going to talk to us tonight about um, the topic is It's All in How You Show Up. It's All in How You Show Up is the name of her presentation. And Robin is a speaker, a fashion advisor. She is a partner in the McLean Style Studio, and she works with a couple of lines of clothing. And she has well, I'll let her tell you some of the fascinating roles that she is playing in and around the Washington area, both in fashion and in charity. And then she's got some really neat things that she's going to share with us tonight. But Robin, I just want to thank you so much for hopping on with us tonight. I have learned so much from you. I own a lot of clothing from your studio. I know Jacqueline has a few pieces as well. And you have been such a loyal friend to me in business here in Northern Virginia, and I've just really appreciated knowing you. And I'm so excited for what you're going to share with us tonight.
It's my pleasure to be here. Just an FYI, I am properly blinged.
Yeah.
My clip earrings.
Ooh, yeah.
So I have on all my my sparkle.
All your goodies. It's great.
Anyway, okay, I'm going to put up a PowerPoint. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been in the retail world my entire life, or at least since 12, when I worked in my grandfather's store selling coveralls, overalls, blue jeans, and that kind of thing. It was a work clothing store. And then I went to the Fashion Institute of America, got a degree in fashion merchandising. I've worked in a major department store as a manager. And then I kind of got tired of working all the holidays, Saturday nights, you name it. And I got out of retail for a while. We moved to the DC area in 1994. I had a small child. We were living in temporary housing because we couldn't find a house. And one day I took him to the Washington Women's Show at the old DC Convention Center. And I ran across an organization called Suited for Change. Suited for Change provides clothing and soft skills for women coming out of all sorts of situations. It could be a halfway house, it could be jail, it could be just unemployment, homeless, whatever their unfortunate circumstances are. And I knew that this was where I needed to volunteer my time. So a couple of months after I started working there, I had a particular client who came in, and I thought she was homeless because she had on several layers of clothing, and it really wasn't that cold outside. She told me what she was interviewing for, and at the moment I don't remember because it was 26 years ago. But we picked out this beautiful cobalt blue wool suit, and I gave it to her and sent her in the dressing room. Well, she popped right back out. There were long johns hanging out, all sorts of layers. And it took me a really long time to convince her that we needed to see what this suit looked like without all the layers underneath. She finally comes out. She goes in front of a mirror and she starts crying. She said she never thought she could look this way again. And I saw a transformation come over her. Her head was a little higher. Her shoulders were held back. And she said, "Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to get my hair done." And that's when I knew I had fallen in love and found my calling. Yes, it's been a really tough 14 months. But in fact, you still can look authoritative. You still can look put together in front of a computer. Tony Robbins says the way you look reflects your standards. And whether you know it or not, there's psychology of professional image. Image influences people's opinions. Your clothing is a visual resume because it is the first thing that people see. And the first impression is most important because we are natural judges. Our human brain cannot help but make a connection between the image that they're looking at and any familiar past experiences, and then making a judgment. There's actually an expectation for the visual image to match whatever that intellectual image is, and we make it in less than 10 seconds. 65% of the world's population are visual learners. They take their cues through their eyes. There's also auditory learners, people who take their cues in through their ears, and kinesthetic learners who learn through movement. But that basically means that almost 7 out of every 10 people are visual learners. And visual people are naturally attracted to balance. They don't like their eyes going all over the place. And when your clothing is balanced, then the attention of the observer naturally focuses on your face and not elsewhere. This may, in fact, help your level of confidence. Now, we all have these perceived flaws. Our chest is too small, our butt is too big. I'm not going to go through the whole list. We all can beat up ourselves probably better than anybody else can. And the nice thing about all of this, though, is that we can create balance or symmetry. And it's all about illusion. I'm going to go over the 5 body types. The first one I'm going to talk about is the triangle, because it's the one I'm most familiar with. I've lived with it for more years than I'm willing to share at the moment. And that is that I am 2 sizes smaller on top than I am on the bottom. And so I have to create a way to balance that so that the eye doesn't focus on the bottom and instead moves up to the top. The second body type is an inverted triangle, and that's going to be somebody with broader shoulders or a big bust and skinny hips. That's going to be a balance that's kind of the opposite of the triangle. Then we go into an oval. An oval tends to have narrow shoulders, a larger middle, and smaller hips. And ovals tend to have fabulous arms and great legs. There's the rectangle, your typical athletic body, where there's not a true defined waist. You're pretty much straight up and down. And then there's the hourglass. The shoulders and the hips are the same with a defined waist. Now, none of them are better than others. It's just a matter of how you dress them. This will give you a better idea in real time of the various body shapes. When I work with clients, and I guess I didn't tell you all this, but I represent 4 lines. I'll share with them at the end of the slideshow. But I take a lot of things into consideration, and one of them is body type when we're choosing clothing. Something else I take into consideration is hair color and skin tone. And skin tone is really important. And there's 3 types. There's cool, there's warm, and there's neutral. And whether you're African American, Hispanic, Caucasian, you still have a skin tone. Warm skin tones tend to look better with cool colors, and cool skin tones tend to look better with warm colors. If you've ever been in a situation where you thought you were feeling really good and somebody came up to you and said, "Bad night's sleep, don't feel good today," it could be the color you're wearing is draining the color from your face. Conversely, you could feel kind of and somebody says, "Wow, you look fabulous today." It could be because the color that you're wearing is really brightening you up. There's a number of shades of red. There's a number of shades of pink, blue, green, and there's the right shade for every skin tone. Something else I take into consideration is personal style. Are you a classic, a romantic, modern or edgy, bohemian, artsy? And are you creative or adventurous? These are some classic lines. Romance. They like lace and flowers and loose flowy fabrics and ruffles and bows. Bohemian. Back to the 60s. Modern or edgy. They want the latest, the greatest, and they want to show and stand out. And then you have your artistic creatives. They're going to put things together that not everybody would do, but think of your graphic designers, your architects, interior designers, artists, creatives. So, what image do you want to project? Your clothes are going to speak for you, so you want to make sure they know what to say. Also, does your look convey the expert that whoever it is you're working with is looking for? So who would you hire if you need a lawyer for whatever reason? They probably both graduated from Harvard, but which one's going to look better in front of a judge? Which one looks like they're more successful? Every time I go to see my financial advisor, he takes us into the big conference room. Of course, there's just two of us and him, but what he's trying to do is convey to me, that he's got this beautiful wood space, and he makes sure that I can see the initials on his shirt sleeves. He's conveying to me that he is so successful that he can afford to put his initials on all his shirts. Also need to think about your audience because they change. Are they prospective clients? Are you in a board meeting? Are you head of the board? Is there an existing dress code in the company or wherever you're going? Where is it? A warm climate, cool climate? Is this a job interview? Are you making a presentation? And if so, to who? Do you want to impress or blend in? And of course, there's all sorts of levels within an organization. And my suggestion is always to dress at least like the next level up so that you look like the obvious choice to move up in the organization. And maybe one day you'll be the boss and get to dictate what that is. Some examples of classic business attire. And there's business formal. There's business casual. I just wanted to give you a few ideas. And this kind of gives you a better idea of a chart. Although I'm not sure the difference between smart casual and business casual. They look very similar. I could see them in either place. And I always suggest buying better, fewer quality items than a lot of poor quality. There's an 80-20 rule. We tend to wear 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. Our favorite black pants, our favorite black suit. And I say black because that tends to be what so many people call for. And black is not always the best color. Black can wash you out. And a really great substitute is a nice navy. And of course, accessories. I hope I'm hearing a lot of applause because accessories are the icing on the cake. And of course, some great pairs of shoes, a great pair of shoes. It doesn't have to be a heel, although a heel will give you a more authoritative look. Just want to make sure it's a business shoe. Remember, I said almost 7 out of every 10 people are visual learners. I'm not making a political statement here, but Michelle Obama kind of gave the American woman permission to bare her arms. And depending upon the situation, should you? If you watch the nightly news, the male broadcaster is in a suit, a tie, and pretty much the only skin you see is his head. and his hands. I've seen female broadcasters with a low plunging V. I see arms, I see head. And sometimes what happens is that my eye travels in that direction instead of actually listening to what she has to say. That may not be true for everybody, but I do think it's true for visual learners. What is the solution? Simply a jacket. A jacket takes the eye away from the arms and puts the focus back onto the face. My suggestion is to always have a great fitting jacket, and that is one that is fitted to you. It may be that the sleeves need to be raised up a half an inch or lowered a half an inch. And the best way to do that is to use a fabulous alterations person. Remember, I said getting dressed is all about illusion. And, some of us don't feel like we have any flaws. Some of us can pick ourselves apart like nobody's business. But I wanted to show you in this particular picture, and I have not been able to find one with a woman in it, of how the gentleman, who is an oval shape, has been transformed into looking taller, looking broader through his shoulder. They nipped in his waist, and then they flared out the bottom of that jacket just a little bit to give him height and make him look thinner. With women, the woman on the right, she looks fantastic in that dress. But in a business situation, if she had bought that dress one size bigger, it would have just skimmed her body instead of hugging her body, and she would have looked more professional. The woman on the left, obviously the dress is too big, and she looks bigger than she actually is. This is another really good example of how our eye plays tricks on us when you wear baggy clothes. Of course, I'm a sucker for grooming. A fresh hairstyle, and every 3 weeks, my eyebrows and my lip gets waxed. I know I'm going through this quickly because I want to leave some time for questions. Something else to take into consideration are distractions. Shoes not being perfectly cleaned or polished. Artsy nail polish can be distracting. A sleeveless dress, and once again, that's a decision that you have to make. Underwear lines. I couldn't tell you how many times I've spent time meeting someone, really making a connection, and then they get up to walk away, and the last thing I see are panty lines. And cleavage. We can't help ourselves but being drawn to look because we were taught that that's something that's private. So in a business situation, it's always best to cover up. And of course, perfume or cologne, there's so many allergies these days. As a stylist, I work with people on their clothing. I have a pocket full of experts because you do not want me styling and cutting your hair. You don't want me putting on your makeup or doing your grooming services. But I do know a lot of great experts that can do those services. So a quick recap. How you dress is your visual resume. Your hair color and skin tone determine your best colors. Know your body type and what clothing pieces are most flattering, and I'm glad to answer questions about that. Stay true to your personal style, especially if you're doing something really important. If you're a classic and you want to try a bohemian style, don't do it when there's something important and you need to keep your confidence level because it could really put you on shaky ground. People are attracted to balance, and you can create it. Know your audience and dress accordingly because remember, they can be different. And avoid distractions. My goal is to always maximize my clients' confidence meter so that they do feel like they're on the runway of life. So you still can look really authoritative in front of a computer, and hopefully in the next few months, we're going to put that computer to rest for a while and get out and spend some time with each other. The 4 lines that I represent are Carlisle and etc. They're sister companies designed out of New York. They're made from high-level Italian, French, Portuguese, Peruvian fabrics. Also, Sarah Flint shoes. Sarah Flint used to sell to Barney's and Neiman Marcus and Saks, and she decided to go out on her own and cut her prices almost in half. Sarah has her training over in Italy. She's a graduate from the Parsons Design School, and then actually worked in the Manolo Blahnik factory, learning how to make top-end women's shoes. And then she talks about the fact that when she specifies her shoes, she has them put in extra padding. And they go, no, that's not how you make designer shoes. And she goes, no, that's how I make my designer shoes. And then the last company that I represent is Duet New York City. And I just picked that up in January. And it's a line of black basics made from sustainable fabrics that are machine washable, hang dry, and wear again. These are the websites. If you wanted to go on and take a look, this is my contact information. Feel free to pull out your camera and take a picture if you'd like. Betsy has my information as well. And I'm glad to answer any questions.
The first question comes from Chantil, and she's posting in the chat. And she says, what are the best clothes for people that are big on the bottom and small on the top?
Okay, well, that's me. Ideally, you want to wear something darker on the bottom and brighter on the top. I am a fan of white pants, though, in the summertime, so I do break my rules periodically. But a pair of nice black slacks, preferably not something that hugs your thighs. Quite often, triangles or pairs are thigh heavy, so their thighs are even wider than their hips. And so you want to be able to balance that. Something that will widen your shoulders. A V-neck works, padded shoulders, or a blazer with inset sleeves. Floral or a print on top, anything that draws the eye up. Also, a statement necklace, something you all are fabulous at. I did not wear one today because there's a tie on my sweater, but anything that will draw the eye up. Does that help?
That was good. Let's see. So Marisa said, Amy says, for colors, do you base it on your natural hair color or whatever your color is at the moment? So she's naturally dark brown, but most of the time she's blonde. This is Amy.
What I would say is skin tone is even more important. I'm assuming that you choose a hair color that matches your skin tone. Take Katie Nelson, for instance. Katie's hair right now is lavender, but it goes beautifully with her skin tone. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and get lavender hair, but what you want is to make sure that the hair, the color that you choose, as you get older, you get gray, you want to cover it, whatever, works with your skin tone. A real easy way to determine whether you are warm or cool is to take bright white and put it under your chin. You can even take something and just make all the hair go away so that doesn't play a part. And then take bright white and also say an off-white. And look and see which one makes you shine better. If it's bright white, you've got cool undertones. If it's off-white, you've got warm undertones. And most people look better in one or the other. There are some people who have neutral skin tones, and they can pretty much wear any color they want. I only wish that were me, but I know which ones will really generally make me look dead.
So Marisa asks, what if you don't know what your body type is?
Take a measuring tape, measure your bust, measure your shoulders, measure your waist, measure your hips, measure your thighs. Plot it out on a piece of paper, and then just kind of take the lines. Now, a rectangle can have a small indentation in the waist. They are not absolutely perfectly rectangular, but they don't have a defined waist like an hourglass does. But that'll give you a pretty good idea.
Okay, let's see. Okay, Debbie has a great question. I love this because I have issues with this. What if you have arthritis in your feet so you can't wear any cute shoes, but basically loafers or black sneakers, so you want to draw the attention up and let's see, wait. And if you're more on the heavy side and you're drawing the attention up, what are you drawing your attention to get away from the shoes and the body type that maybe we're not happy with?
I would say whatever fits beautifully on the upper part of your body. You know, if it's a great V-neck, and then a statement necklace, very few people are going to pay attention to your shoes, other than maybe when you're walking in the room. You know, we can't help ourselves. You know, we do the whole up and down thing when we look at people, but it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, look at that fabulous necklace, or great hairstyle, or those colors are fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you an idea. Maybe there's some cute sneakers. Maybe there's, you know, some great loafers. Or maybe there's a loafer with a sparkly thing that you can put on, you know, what are the little buckle things that you can put on your shoes or something?
Yeah.
Hey, there's an idea for touch.
There you go.
That's cute.
Sparkle clips for your shoes.
I love that.
It could even put it in with your sneakers, you know, through the laces or something.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
anything like that. Let's see. Deb
Although
McNabb.
you don't, let me finish. You
Yeah.
don't want people to stare at your feet the whole time.
That's true. Good point. I'm looking here to see what other questions we've got. Oh, Amy wants to know what's your favorite Touchstone piece? I already know
Oh,
the
absolutely. The bracelets.
answer.
I have 3 clear, 3 black.
Mhm.
I think I have a pink one. I tend not to wear colorful jewelry, as Betsy knows.
Mhm.
I buy the same crystal, the same pearls, the same black all the time.
And why is that?
Because I tend to wear bright colors,
Mhm.
and that works better.
Right.
And if I wear a white blouse, I tend not to remember to put something colorful with it. I'll put the black or the, you know, it's just
Right.
habit.
Yeah. Deb McNally says, my mom always said that being overdressed was better than being underdressed, especially if you don't know the dress code. And it's still,
Exactly.
is that still true in our casual time? She wants to know.
Absolutely. I'm actually surprised that slide wasn't in there. I probably, because I do this, you know, for a number of organizations, and I pull and, you know, insert and take out slides as necessary. And I actually thought that slide was in there, but when in doubt, overdress.
When in doubt, overdress. I keep trying to tell my kids that, and in their 20s, and they're still not listening to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like my son's khaki pants that, you know, looks like he slept in them.
Exactly. Not like those. Exactly. Okay. We have one last question for you, Robin. This has been so great. I wish we could just keep you. All right. So Heather says, what about blazers and skirts and pants? And if they're not a part of a suit, should they be the same color or not, like a black blazer with a different black skirt? Is it okay to mix and match different things that are the same color, but not from the same suit necessarily?
It can be distracting. Ideally, if you're going to get, you're going to want a suit. feel free to break it apart. But if you buy the pieces that match, then you've got that column look, which is always more slimming. And your eyes don't go to the different textures of fabric. I mean, if you had a black blazer and a black tweed skirt, you know, that's great because then it, you know, the colors kind of blend in together. I would say, you know, choose navy and black then, which is very French. Or, you know, black and maybe another color.
That's great.
And if that doesn't answer, you know, I'm glad to talk to you more.
That's sweet. Well, Robin, we thank you. I feel like you're a part of you're an honorary member of our Sparkly Sisterhood.
Oh, thank you. It was my pleasure.
We so appreciate you being on. I really, really, really appreciate it.